So all these things you've been hearing about, the conspiracy theories, a QAnon crowd, is actually, where's it coming from? Republicans are the deep state that the QAnon nuts are so scared about and fearful of. It's the Republicans who are the deep state. Because look, the deep state idea is that there's this group in the government who are actively subverting your government to have a coup so that just it becomes like a shell, but it's really a dictatorship. That's Republicans. Just look what has been happening. You don't need a conspiracy theory, it's right there. Trumpy boy and the Republicans have put in every department that's your government, all of them, pick any of them, HUD, education, environmental protection, any of them. Trumpy boy has put in these right-wing nuts who are totally inept. I mean, they don't have any background Betsy DeVos, she doesn't have any background in education. She's just a right-wing nut, rich. That's what all of them are. They're all just right-wing nuts who are subverting the structure of your government to benefit who? The dictatorship of the Republicans and the rich. That is really who the Republicans are. And implement a dictatorship of Christian wacko extremists, a dictatorship of white supremacist neo-Nazi racists like Trump, and keep the money, your tax money, going to the rich and getting all sorts of tax breaks to the rich. So that the country becomes, as an analogy, becomes like Mexico. That is completely rife with bribery and corruption, and the government's totally corrupt. It's just a facade. The people and the mass of the Mexican population is poor, with nothing. No health care, no Social Security, nothing. And then the rich, the Republican rich, live on. It's Republicans that are the deep state, that the Q gang is being so worried about. Because it's a flip. Just look what the QAnon conspiracy theories are all about. They have this structure of this, there's this secret this and there's a secret that of subterfuge. And in there is always that it has shifted that Donnie Trump is the savior to get you out of and expose the deep state. To get you out of and expose the pedophile ring. But all the pedophile ring is Republicans. All the deep state is Republicans. You see the flip of the propaganda? The psychological flip of the propaganda? Who is making up the QAnon ongoing lies that are these conspiracy theories? That has become QAnon. Who's pushing it? Who's developing it? Republicans. Because look at the agenda that it's saying. Every single one of them say, there's this secret group and they're doing this to you. And only the Republicans are going to expose it or do something about it. When it's actually Republicans who are subverting your government. Look at Trump in this election. The conspiracy theory is that it's all rigged. The deep state, they're rigging the election. Well, on Trump is, and all the Republicans are, just look what he did to the post office with this another completely inept, criminal, right-wing nut, DeJoy, who has cut out and disrupted your postal service that will be delivering and collecting all the ballots. It's Republicans that are rigging the election. The very thing they're trying to say is conspiracy is the very thing they're doing. Republicans are the deep state. And the thing about the pedophile ring, there's this the conspiracy theorists, there's this big pedophile ring. And they're using the money from the pedophile ring to bring down Trump. But you look at it and you say Jeffrey Epstein is with Trump. Jeffrey Epstein's a sex trafficker. Jeffrey Epstein is a pedophile. Trump is in line with him. Trump is going to having sex with these underage girls. We got history of that. We got the records of it. And then it's not just him. It turns into this other Republican nut, right-wing nut, Jim Jordan, who's having all these legal problems because he was a wrestling coach at Ohio University somewhere. And this doctor who was under him was a pedophile and sex abuser with the guys who were the wrestlers. And Jordan is trying to deny that he knew about it or participated in it or anything, right? But at the same time, those wrestlers are coming out and saying, yes, Jordan did know. It's Republicans that are the pedophile ring. But it doesn't stop there. You go another one. Remember this guy, George Nader? No, probably not. Republican. He did get busted on pedophilia and all this crap, and he brought into the U.S., subverted and brought into the U.S. a 14-year-old boy for his pedophilia ring. Republican are the pedophile ring. Pedophiles. And then it doesn't stop there. It goes back to Bush Cheney. It doesn't just start with Trumpy boy Republican scum. It goes back to Bush Cheney too. Denny Hastert, Republican. We find out Denny Hastert, who also was involved as a wrestling coach. And we find out that Republican Denny Hastert was paying off hush money, $1 million or something, to keep this guy quiet who was going to talk about Denny Hastert sexually abusing, having sex with him, trying to have sex with him and other guys when he was the wrestling coach. It's Republicans who are the pedophile ring. That the QAnon crowd is trying to say, oh, there's this pedophile ring, and they're using their money too. Well, they're using their money to keep Trump, not get rid of Trump. That's the trick of this whole psychological QAnon thing. It's a flip. The very thing that the QAnon nuts out there are all hearing about, and they're going, oh, geez, all this stuff, Hillary, she did this, and oh, boy, that. Well, wait a minute, we find out every time, one, that they're all lies. They're all baseless. They don't have any validity. They're just made up. They're just made up. It's like, right now, this kind of, what can you say, but just a criminal guy, William Barr, who is currently the Attorney General, and he's just a slimeball Republican. You got it. Just look what he's done. Well, he's busy trying to push out a report that's completely false. It's called the Durham Report. That they've been trying to push that says, oh, the Mueller report about Russia collusion was really all just flipped around. It was a fraud. It wasn't this. It was actually... And they can't find any facts and evidence. But that doesn't stop Republicans. Republicans don't live with reality and facts. Reality and facts crush Republicans. Just look, that's why they got Fox News. To be a propaganda wing who's just spewing this crap of lies continuously so bad that Fox News in court has had to say that it's not a news agency. It's not news. That Fox News is really just for entertainment purposes only, and therefore can lie to you. Because it was being sued for all its lies. So I mean, court had to say, we're not a news agency. Yeah, Fox News had to come out and say it wasn't a news agency. What you should know is the truth. It was intentionally made to be right-wing propaganda right from the get-go by the right-wing Republican, another one, see, and the deep state. It's Republicans who are the fake news, the propaganda of the media, that the QAnon nuts are all worked up about. Oh, there's this, this media group, and they're all spreading these lies and fraud. Yeah, it's called Fox News. Limbaugh, Alex Jones, all those nuts. That's what's doing it. They are the deep state. They are the fake news media deceptors. Republicans are the fake news media deceptors. Republicans are the deep state. Republicans are the pedophile ring. Republicans are lying to you about COVID and the disaster that Trump did with COVID-19. It's Republicans. And here's this situation that you have this strange thing of propaganda, of lies, overt lies, totally made up. But you got a vehicle of the internet. And so on this part of the internet, the dark internet, the Q channels, the 8-channel, 8chan and whatnot, And they trace it back to say, well, where did all this stuff come from? Where did all these lies come out of? Who? Well, this guy, this entity, somebody who was posting as Q, just started spewing these lies. And then they pushed those lies onto right-wing internet sites, Trump sites, on the web and on, social media. And it's all this, the secrets, this secret society stuff. And it's such a flip because actually the very thing those Q postings about this deep state, it's Republicans who are the deep state, manipulating your government from within as a coup to destroy it, thereby destroying your rights, freedoms, and therefore institutionalizing a fascism of racists, white people, Christian extremists who are going to crush equal rights for women and gays and blacks and Latinos, and that's the Republican agenda. And give tax breaks to the rich endlessly. So the rich just keep living in their little bubble of rich. So the rich corporations keep poisoning and polluting you. Even those QAnon nuts get poisoned and polluted. That's how stupid the QAnon crowd is. And that's how gullible they are. They don't look at anything else to kind of balance out and say, no, wait a minute, where's this stuff coming from? Where's the validity? Where's the information? Well, these postings keep saying stuff like, oh, we've seen secret Department of Justice documents that say Hillary is about to be arrested, and then boom, never happens. It never happens because there isn't any. It's a lie. It's just made up. But by then, it's already been told to the QAnon nuts, and so they run around just going, oh, the Justice Department, they're secret documents, and they're just, oh, they're going to bust Hillary. Oh, geez, okay, got him. It's right there on that posting on the internet. I saw it on the internet. And they're just being lied to. And you can easily see, well, who is this all about? What's the idea here? It's a 21st century propaganda machine using the vehicle of the internet to overtly just lie to you about these conspiracies, these big conspiracies. And they're so, just driven by this belief in myth and ignorance and these little stories that they hear it and then they just pass it on. And then it becomes like their little world of reality. Because then you just say, wait a minute, there never was this Pizzagate thing, you've heard of. There was in this QAnon bullshit crowd, there was this thing called Pizzagate. And, it was this pizza joint that was supposed to be, by one of these Q postings, these lies, it was one of these postings was that there's this pizza joint in New York that is running a sex trafficking ring and child pornography and child pedophile ring in the basement, and it has satanic, even the terms, satanic worship and rites going on. Oh, they're bad. Down in the basement, and all these kids are getting to be. That was on this QAnon nuts. So some poor fool who actually believed it drove hundreds of miles to go liberate the children. There's a video of him talking to his daughter, trying to tell her by his phone as he's driving toward this thing that how he's got to do what he's got to do, and I just hope you'll understand that I had to go and do this type of crap. And he goes into the pizza joint with guns, of course. Right-wing nuts, all with their guns. They're also scared of everything. They got guns everywhere. He goes in with his guns, and he finds out it's a pizza joint. And on top of it, there isn't even a basement. And the dumb shit gets busted, slapped down, handcuffed, justifiably, and is now rotting in jail. Where he should be, because his brain is fried. He's a nut. He got exposed by listening to and believing and actually acting on these just horrific stupidities that are coming out of Republicans and pushing them out into this crowd that's the QAnon crowd. Because just look who they are. Who are the QAnon people? Just look who they are. They're right-wing nuts. They're not very bright. They don't have much, obviously not much integrity about checking things out, and so gullible about these exotic mysteries. Oh, and, that they go along with it. It's like a cult. A cult tries to, keep you stupid and indoctrinated and constantly feeds you more indoctrination. And then when the lies get exposed, like Pizzagate did, well, it doesn't stop the lies. It doesn't even stop Pizzagate. Because then it gets deflected off into something else. It just says, well, that wasn't the place, or that was just covered up, or that wasn't, it just makes it up and spins off again. When Obama finally just showed his birth certificate because these racist dumbasses, Trump, one of them, was demanding that he wasn't an American citizen. They're so scared, they're so racist that here's this black man who actually got elected president because Bush Cheney Republican white guys were such a disaster that Republicans dropped you into the worst economic collapse at that time since the 1929 collapse, and America overwhelmingly voted in Obama. And then right away, the Q gang, these right-wing racists showing who they are. Who is this entities that are letting loose these lies throughout the system that is QAnon? And they started saying, oh, he wasn't really born here, therefore he can't be president. He's born outside of the U.S. See, show his birth certificate. Well, finally, after all this stupidity of these right-wing nuts, Obama showed him the birth certificate. So what happened? There's even a videotape of Trumpy Boy responding to his lies about saying, oh, it's birther, and he's not American, he was born outside the U.S. And he showed the birth certificate now at Donnie Trump. And he said, oh, that's not the real one. That's just made up. That's a fabrication. That's not true. See, the lies just spin off again. Because they can't face reality. Which is true of everything Republican. That's why they got Fox News. That's why they got Limbaugh and Alex Jones and all these other right-wing nuts and all the QAnon thing. It all relies on lies. That's the Republican Party. Because when you actually look at what the Republican Party has done, what has been their agenda, what have they done? They injure you. And they give priority to the rich criminals like Trump. They give priority to destroying your rights, your health care, destroying your Social Security. Over 70% of retirees in America rely on Social Security as the main source of their income. And here come Republicans for years now. It didn't just start with Trumpy Boy. For years now that have been trying to destroy Social Security and hand you over your Social Security and the system all over to criminal corporations who are going to rip you off. Because all that system runs on is profit, not a benefit to you. It didn't care about you. And that's what Republicans are. Nothing but corporations that want profit and don't give a damn about you. You're supposed to just work for corporations, buy things for corporations, get in debt for corporations, and die. So that corporations and criminals like Trump and the rich can live boisterously. All you got to do is look what has been done by Republicans. And the facts, the evidence, crushes Republicans. That's why Republicans are the deep state, the manipulators destroying your government. You saw it in the Senate trial of Trumpy Boy. The evidence is overwhelming that Trump is guilty. So, in the Senate trial, Republicans denied allowing any evidence, any witnesses. Because the witnesses and evidence would say Trump is guilty. And then the Republicans would have to act and convict Trump. So they just ignored all that and made up their own rules and said, oh no, nope, this is it, nope, and just took a vote. And as you saw, all Republicans, Mitt Romney had one vote for conviction. And the rest were all Republicans said, oh no, he's okay. We don't want facts. We don't want evidence. Nope. Republicans are the deep state. Nope. So what you did was you had a kind of a facade of a trial. You had a kind of, show trial, a fabrication. But you really didn't have a trial. That's the deep state in action. Just like the election, this 2020 election. It's going to look like an election, But Trump and the Republicans and the rigging of the election they've done here with the Postal Service, with the joy and in throughout the states and blocking, black people, Latino people from voting, will look like a trial, an election, but it won't be an election. That's how the deep state deceives you. These deep state Republicans. It looks like a government, but it's actually all corrupt slime Republicans, racist, Christian fascists, corporate criminals poisoning and polluting you and your kids, taking away your health care access, throwing you back to the corporate criminals of health insurance companies, destroying your air and your water. Because there you just see it in how Republicans have voted. You don't have to say it's mystical or something, mythic or something. That's what Republicans have done. There's the evidence. There's the facts. Republicans have wiped out and rolled back clean air, clean water for you and your kids so that corporations can poison you and your kids so that corporations can continue profiting and not have to change to the reality, to science, to climate change. Who's the deniers of climate change? Republicans. Who's pushing these fabrications of the deception of lies? Oh, geez, no, there's no climate change. Oh, gosh, no. It's the QAnon nuts. Who's feeding those QAnon nuts? Those lies and fraud of trying to deny climate change. Republicans. Republicans are the deep state. Republicans are the pedophile ring. Republicans are rigging the election. Republicans are lying to you about COVID-19 and the disaster that it has been. Republicans are destroying your world, your environment, destroying and poisoning you and your kids for profits, for the corporate rich, like criminal Trump. There it is. Reality. And that's what everybody in the QAnon crowd cannot handle, is reality, evidence, facts. They want myth. They want satanic worship groups exposed. They want, there's coming a tidal wave. There's coming, this right-wing Christian wacko stuff, that there's this coming, that's coming. Oh, don't worry, it's a coming. Oh, it's a real big, it's going to be big, And then there'll be utopia on earth. Well, folks, not with Republicans. It's going to be hell on earth. It's going to be worse climate change. It's going to be worse COVID-19. Something else will come along. It's going to be worse economics for you and your kids. Because actually, this is what Republicans are scared of. They're scared of you. They're scared of you finally waking up and throwing off all those myths, all that stupidity, that ignorance of QAnon. Always throwing off that crap of Trump and everything Republican. And embracing reality, evidence, facts, scientific research. And when you do that, you're a threat to everything Republican. You're a threat to the racists that are in the Republican Party, that are the Republican Party. You're a threat to the Christian extremists that are in the Republican Party, who want to continue denying rights to gays and women and blacks and Latinos and everybody else who isn't white people. You're a threat to the whole economic of poison and pollution Because if you start going with climate change, folks, of course, you got to change the whole economic system. You got to wipe out that whole system that has caused poisoning and polluting of you. So that your oceans are filled with plastic, your rivers are filled with garbage, your lakes are filled with garbage, your air is polluted with thousands and thousands and thousands of tons of toxins every year. See, wipe out, and that's everything, all this toxicity and everything, that's Republican. All that racism, all that Christian fanaticism, that's Republican. When you wake up and you get it, that all Republicans are Trump, all of them, you wipe them out. It'll be justifiably the end of the Republican Party. The Republican Party isn't even a political party. It's showing itself that it is only a criminal enterprise, ripping you off and your kids. Because reality is, in this government in particular, that says we the people, it's all about you. You're first. It's your air and water first. Any business, corporation that poisons your air and water, they're out of business. You close them down. You take away their profits, their money. And that's what these big corporations are scared of. When you really embrace the knowledge and the facts of climate change, those corporations of poisoning and polluting, they either got to spend a lot of money changing their whole operation, how they do it, the chemistry they use, the products they make, how recyclable those products are, the whole thing. Or they just close down. They have to be shut down and they lose all their big money. And on top of it, they know that they are criminally liable. Why? Because they know they've been pumping toxins into your air and your water and your food supply. They know they're guilty of doing that. They had the information and they kept doing it anyway. That makes them criminally liable. They injured you and your kids. They're scared of that, all right. They're scared of you. When you wake up to the 21st century reality and realize it's about you. You're first. It's all about you and your kids first. It's your air, your water, your food supply, your health care. No corporations, it's your health care. You don't need health insurance, you need health care. So you throw out all those Republican criminal things of health insurance. You wipe them out. And all the budget of setting up is about you. Goes to you. Just like it says right there. We, the people. Equal rights. We, the people, equal rights. That's the main part of it. That freaks out the Republican racists and Christian fanatics too, you know. They get rid of them. It's we the people. It's not we the white people. It's not we the Christians. It's not we the corporations. It says correctly, we the people. All of us. Together. Equal rights. You're first. You are more important than profit.